Hello and welcome to ALW Research Team. This is the Hull and Barnsley Railway. We're near Brierley Junction. Brierley Railway tunnel is that way, and you can see how flooded the cutting is now. This is the cutting. There used to be a railway bridge here and it was removed, and the council basically just filled the cutting in here and built a road on top. This is the Brierley Railway cutting. This way goes towards Brierley Junction. The Dearne Valley Railway forks off that way, and there was some works and Hodroyd railway works and things like that, Hodroyd metal works going that way. And there's also a tunnel on the Dearne Valley Railway called Shafton Tunnel. That isn't going to be part of this series because we're concentrating on the Hull and Barnsley series, Hull and Barnsley Railway, and we're going to Stairfoot. That is where we're going to end this series. There are other branches of the Hull and Barnsley Railway, but they were primarily colliery lines, things like that, little freight lines. But we're going to go down here and have a look at this railway cutting. So just there, viewers, that is where the road bridge would have been. Looking at the lay of the land, this has all been dug out, all the ballast's gone, the track beds have been completely removed, leaving just this sort of marshy swampland, because the drainage that the Hull and Barnsley Railway will have put in has all been torn out. We can see out the corner of my eye that is one of the old Hull and Barnsley Railway bricks, like we've seen along this series, that were locally made for construction of the railway. We're just discussing with Paul about the merit of continuing along this railway cutting, and we don't think there's much merit to it because the track bed itself's been dug out completely, all the ballast's gone, the drainage filled in, and it just looks like an off-road bog.
As we leave Finkley Bridge Lane and Brierley Road behind us, the railway cutting has been extensively used by off-road enthusiasts. Trees have grown where the track bed once laid, and the railway has all but vanished apart from the trees lining the former routes. This is Brierley Junction, where previously mentioned the Hull and Barnsley Railway briefly met the Dearne Valley Railway, which headed to the south. Meeting again, but at almost 90 degrees, the Hull and Barnsley Railway crossed over the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway. These two railways previously met near Drax Power Station in episode 13 of this series. Links for earlier episodes are in the description box. There are many branches and turns as the Hull and Barnsley Railway made its way towards Cudworth, the station stop which was originally created by the North Midland Railway in 1840. The station was extended and an extra platform added for the Hull and Barnsley Railway in 1885, which passed through but was not connected to the Midland system until the early 1900s. The station closed to passengers in 1968 and the site was demolished 20 years later in 1988, with the remaining line from Wath Road Junction to Cudworth, which closed and was lifted due to mining subsidence. Much of the line can be walked, however, there is little resemblance to a railway other than a few bridges that remain along the route. We are now going to continue the ground footage at the former Cudworth site.
Hey viewers, so we're on Station Road in Cudworth now, moving towards Stairfoot. Just over there used to be Cudworth railway station, and round the corner there is still remaining a water tower that's supposed to still be here, so we're going to go check that out too. Over this way is Barnsley Road, and the abutments for the large bridge that went over Barnsley Road, the abutments are still there, so we'll check those out too, so keep watching. we're just coming up to an area here where the retaining wall is still in place. This was on the run up to the station that was formerly here, and this retaining wall would have held the tracks in place and kept the bed for the railway line square and true. You can see the architecture. There's some writing there as well, 175A1. Don't know if that refers to anything on the railways, but that is the retaining wall here at Cudworth. We're going to go onto the track bed now and see if we can find any remains of the station that used to be here. You can see immediately large areas of ballast, and this would have been the track bed here. There was little goods sidings here also. I believe even down there that could have been track, because there was a lot of activity here at Cudworth. Let's see over here, just spotted in the trees there, that is an old Hull and Barnsley Railway brick. Got some stonework there. That is some old British Rail fencing there. It's amazing to think that this was once a thriving railway station and goods yard, and now there's very little left to see as we make our way towards the terminus at Stairfoot. So I've just found here the brick lining of what was probably the sides of the road just outside Cudworth railway station. And we believe the station was about here. Station buildings would have been here once and now long gone. That's an old follower that was ground mounted, and it had pulleys on it to allow the cables and mechanical rods for the signals to pass through. We saw one of these at North Cave. That's just here in the grass. Remember this, viewers, from an earlier episode? That's just pushed aside in the mud. You can see there a large lump of concrete with a post in it, possibly an old telegraph pole. I'm still puzzled by these bricks in the ground. Paul just had a theory that these were bricks that were used in the railway station building, and when they've demolished it, they've reused them to build a track, to sort of reinforce the track. What are your thoughts, viewers? What do you think about these bricks in the ground? Because we're not 100% sure why those are there. You can see stonework in the ground now, in the mud. So you've just seen here, this is a concrete railway sleeper, and that gives a bit of an indication as to how more recently the track has been lifted from this area. This was a very important junction, and we can see just over here there's some of the concrete capping for the cable pits, which is also certainly more from the British Rail era than the Hull and Barnsley. And the track bed itself has the more modern, lighter coloured ballast on it, as seen here. So we're on the track bed now. I believe I've just spotted a signal post in the ground. Yeah, there's two. There's a signal post here, quite a modern one, right there, viewers, and there's another one on this side. There we are, signal post there, and then there's a cable pit there. This is all more modern than the Hull and Barnsley Railway. This is British Rail era. Right, so Paul's just checking that area out there, and we're just going to have a look at this water tower here at Cudworth. Just along there is the Chapeltown Junction, and then this is the historic water tower. Looks like we can get in too, which is a big bonus to us. So there would have been, I believe, an actual tower part above us there, and then this is the stonework building that accompanied it.
It is likely that this water tower was originally constructed in 1840 for the North Midland Railway and later used by the Hull and Barnsley Railway engines from 1885 onwards.
Concrete and steel girder above holding up the roof. Then down here we've got this large base here. So we've just got Paul outside checking out the area. Just in here I'm stood on the sandstone bed of the old pumping system, and I'm just sort of taking in the scale of this building. The mass of water that must have been above, and then the architecture that's gone into building such a magnificent water tower. See there where parts of it have been damaged. I think people have literally stolen the stone from there. They've been stealing it to reuse it somewhere else. Because part of the mantelpiece has been smashed in half and removed there. And here, this one's been removed. They all have, in fact. All the window sills have been removed. Someone's took those, causing an accelerated rate of decay of this historic building.
Returning to site the following day, we are now going to go see the abutments.
As you can hear, we are getting closer and closer to Barnsley Road, and we're going to look at the abutments for the former. We're going to look at the abutments for the former bridges that were here, and we've got a rail shoe on a wooden sleeper. Wow! So this is the remains of a sleeper, and that is pretty old, isn't it? That could even be Hull and Barnsley, judging by the age and deterioration of the sleeper. That isn't something that's been pulled up in the 1990s when this part of the line closed. That is older than that, and that is a rail shoe. Is it a shoe or is that a chair? Yeah. Terminology boy here. Yeah. I've been corrected on this before. That is a chair. That is a chair that the rail slips. That's the chair that the rail slips into and is held into place by a cleat. So, if anybody out there wants to correct me again, please do, because I'm always here to learn. Right then viewers, we're going to carry on towards Barnsley Road, so we'll see you there.
Yeah, it's signalling structures.
So that's an old signalling structure that's just been bashed to bits by a digger when they've been pulling the track up. We're a bit closer to Barnsley Road now, and we've come across this. This is a British rail tie fence, and this is the end post. So beyond this was probably wooden fencing. Oh no, the British rail fence carried on. So the wires come out of both sides. This is just the tensioning unit where they could tension the steel wires that came out. There we are, there's some of the wires that have been chopped off. Metal thieves have had it away, and they would have carried on that way. Oh, there's one of the cornerstones. That's a cornerstone of one of the old bridge abutments. And Dave's found a fish plate bolt. Just try and get it to focus. Excellent. Yeah, that is a fish plate bolt right there. Now the 1989 line that closed was probably welded. I don't know, But if any of you at home know if the 1989 colliery line, if that was welded or not, or did it use these fish plate bolts, please get in touch and let us know. I'm going to put that on there. To anyone who follows us, that'll still be there when you get here. So here we are, viewers. These are the abutments of the former Hull Barnsley Railway. Came across this area here. You can see there's two abutments there. Two different abutments. They were for the two different railway companies that operated in this area. One was for the Hull and Barnsley Railway, and one was for the Midland Railway. There they are. They are the former abutments. Thank you so much for watching this ALW Research Team video. Please subscribe if you haven't done already, and I'll see you every Thursday at 4 PM UK time with a new video. Bye bye for now.
Looking over my shoulder, looking back at your door. In my head it goes over and over. Should I leave or want it more? Look